Let me paint you a picture. Imagine having the time to do everything you want to do. Wouldn't it be nice? Well, actually, you can. Welcome to Gloria's Time Management Crash Course. For a low price of $0, you can take back control of your time. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to click on this video. I know your time is limited, so let me cut to the chase and call you out on your bullshit. You do have enough time. You just need to set your priorities straight and say no to random shit you don't need to be doing. When it comes to time management and productivity, I think there are two principles we all need to keep in mind. The first principle is the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. It states that 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. That means we should focus on the 20% that bring us the most results and aim to cut down the remaining 80%. Why would we allocate the same amount of time and attention on everything when only a few of them actually matter? We don't want to get more things done. We want to get the most important things done. The second principle is the Parkinson's law. It states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Having more time doesn't mean we'll get more things done. If we give ourselves all the time in the world to do something, we'll end up taking all the time in the world to do it. That's just human nature. You know that I know that you know you can do the same amount of work in less time. Don't fool anyone here. Now that we've got the basic principles out of the way, I'm going to walk you through the time management method I've been using that I personally find super effective. Let's roll. This is it. The time management matrix from the good old 7 habits of highly effective people. It literally changed my life. It made me a better person. It also made me an asshole to some people, but I don't mind. The time management matrix divides all the activities we typically do into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is urgent and important. Quadrant 2 is important but not urgent. Quadrant 3 is urgent but not important. And Quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. Let's look at Quadrant 1 for a second, the urgent and important. These are your crises and deadlines. These are the things that make you run around like a headless chicken. You have to do them, otherwise you're toast. But how did you get here in the first place? How did they become crises and deadlines? Well, let's look at Quadrant 2, the important and not urgent. These are usually your long-range planning, your goals and dreams, your meaningful relationships, your health. You know, the important stuff you know you should be doing but you never get around to doing them because they're not urgent. So how does that relate to Quadrant 1? Well, most of your deadlines and crises don't just pop up overnight. You knew they were coming. If you plan them way ahead and actually follow through, they're not going to become pressing crises and deadlines in the first place. Well, obviously there will still be emergencies, but they're going to be dramatically reduced. That's why we need to focus our attention on Quadrant 2. This is the 20% in the Pareto principle. Now let's look at Quadrant 3, the urgent and not important. These are interruptions like some calls and emails, meetings, popular activities, and other people's priorities. This is where I might look like an asshole to some people. Other people's priorities are not my priorities. It doesn't matter if it's urgent. If it's not important to me, I'm not going to do it until I finish working on what's important to me. Some people might call it selfish. I call it healthy boundaries. This is where you can actually make time for your Quadrant 2 activities. And let's not forget about Quadrant 4, the not urgent and not important. These are the time wasters like scrolling through social media, watching TV, partying, pointless texting and calling. This is where I might look like an antisocial asshole to some people. I cut these things out completely. Okay, maybe I'll occasionally shoot the shit with my 2 best friends, but that's about it, because I know where I should spend my time. Quadrant 2. All in all, this thing right here has saved me so much time. I'm not working to fit everything in my schedule. I just eliminate Quadrant 3 and 4 activities, especially Quadrant 4. And as I put the majority of my focus on Quadrant 2, I realized that I have very few Quadrant 1 things to deal with. Obviously, you need to adapt it to your situation, but if you follow it as a general guideline, you realize how much time you can save. I've always kept an agenda. I'm old school. I like putting my schedule on paper. If I don't write it down, I'll forget about it. I'm basically 92 years old. Let me look at my schedule for this week. I plan my schedule on a weekly basis because it gives me more flexibility to move things around during the week. I keep all the important things I need to accomplish this week on the left side of my agenda, and then I distribute them to different days of the week. I usually only work on one important task a day because it helps me keep my focus. As you can see, I don't have a packed schedule. My schedule mostly consists of quadrant 2 activities because I got rid of everything else. Over the years, I've learned to say no to things I don't have to be doing in the first place. Does that make me the human version of Grumpy Cat? I don't know, but what I do know is that I've got a lot of time to myself to do what I want to be doing. Again, depending on your situation, you might have more or less things on your plate, but the key here is to schedule your priorities, as opposed to prioritizing what's on your schedule, because like I said, there are things you might not need to do in the first place. We live in a society where we almost glorify overworking and overscheduling. It took me a while to accept the fact that being busy doesn't mean being productive. It might just mean we don't know how to set priorities. Oh, batching. How can I not mention batching when it comes to effective scheduling? Batching means grouping similar tasks together so that you can do them all at once within a certain block of time. During this time, this is all you do. Nothing else matters, not even when your house is on fire. Okay, maybe except when your house is actually on fire. Well, how do you batch? You can batch on a daily basis, weekly basis, or even monthly basis. For example, I batch on a weekly basis. Mondays are for researching, Tuesdays are for scripting, Wednesdays are for editing, Thursdays are for transcribing. I usually post on Fridays and also finalize my new script. I rest on Saturdays, at least I try to, and then I film on Sundays. Obviously, I switch things around based on how things go, but that's the general idea. Why should we batch? Well, batching can help us get into this thing called flow state. It's a state of effortless concentration when you feel like you're in the zone, like you don't even notice time passing. If you're constantly task switching, it's going to be very hard for you to get into this flow state. Let's be honest here, we rarely get straight to work as soon as we sit down to work. You might check your phone, and then your email, and when you're finally getting in the zone, another email comes in, you start checking that email. This shit just never ends. Right now, I no longer check my emails in the morning. I turn off the notification and only check them in the evening, after I finish all my work. Same thing with my phone. I put it on silent and keep it in another room. Good luck trying to reach me while I'm working. Again, it's not about being an asshole or being selfish. It's about prioritizing quadrant 2 activities over quadrant 3 and 4 activities. Wanna hear the biggest bullshit of the century? Try tracking how much time you're actually working. I used to think I work a lot, from morning to night, non-stop. But when I started using ToggleTrack to track how much time I actually work, I was like, wait, I thought I was working this whole time. Interesting. Where did my time go? I'll tell you where my time went. I took half an hour in the morning just to get my Starbucks, so I never actually started work on time. And then I went to wash my car in the middle of the day. Now why the fuck would I go wash my car in the middle of the day? I don't know, maybe I thought it would only take 10-20 minutes. It took over an hour. So I worked late into the evening thinking, wow, that was a long day of work. False, that was a long day of unproductiveness. You see, that's how time tracking call you out on your bullshit. You better get ready to face the truth. Once you see how much time you spent not working when you think you are, you realize you do have enough time. You just wasted it. Another technique I started using lately is the Pomodoro technique. Basically, I work for 25 minutes and then take a break for 5 minutes, rinse and repeat. This is for the days when I'm just not in flow. If I'm in flow, I could work for 3 hours straight without noticing time passing. But sometimes I just don't want to work. I just don't. With the Pomodoro technique, I can just tell myself, okay, Gloria, you just need to sit down for 25 minutes and then you get a 5-minute break as a reward. Cool? Well, then I'm more likely to sit down. And next thing I know, I end up working for an hour. Well, when dealing with a problem child like me, I need to learn how to trick myself. Before I end this video, I really want to emphasize the importance of building in buffer time and downtime in your schedule. This is something I need to work on as well. Buffer time means giving yourself a bit extra time to finish your task. We as humans are terrible at estimating how much time it takes us to do things. Why did it take me an hour to wash my car when I thought it was only 10-20 minutes? Well, because there was a huge line. Duh. If I thought of that, I wouldn't have gone car washing in the first place. On the other hand, sometimes we give ourselves too much time to do things. Remember Parkinson's law? Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. I actually give myself a lot of time to work because I want to do everything perfectly. But sometimes it backfires. I just end up taking too much time and being unproductive. That's why I think scheduling downtime could actually help push us to be more productive. You know the trick. The child's gonna have some reward. Let me paint you another picture. Imagine knowing exactly what your quadrant 2 activities are. You know, your goals and dreams. Well, I've got you covered. For a low price of $0, you can enroll in Gloria's goal setting seminar. The link is below. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna get back to my sunbathing now.